hello everybody from Illinois. Here.
Big echo, Roger.
Mine, the big echo?
Yeah.
All right, how about if we go back to this one?
I don't know. It was good, and then you did something, and now it's bad again.
No, I talked.
Let me get the chat up here again. Hey, Rick is here. Well, he's lurking, I guess. Oh no, I guess that's me probably. Hey, Doug. Myrtle Beach. It's probably a little nicer weather there. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
He is lurking.
Yeah, we had some wicked stuff here in Illinois yesterday. I mean, wicked.
Okay, you got to fix that microphone, man.
Okay, go to this one.
Try again.
Go to this one. Sound better?
It was perfect before. What happened? It's
I don't know.
Still echoey. Let me mute myself and try.
Okay. How does that sound? Any better? Or?
It's not me and it's not Conrad, so it's got to be something in your system. You got two mics wired up or you're getting an echo off of something.
Well, I could turn off the one mic completely.
That's better. That's
okay.
Perfect, actually.
Okay, well, I turned off the phantom power to this one.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's perfect now.
Oh, okay, we'll go with this.
It must have been two different mics running. All right, who do we got? We got Stephen on tonight, and John. Some of our crowd starting to roll in. Welcome everybody. Rick is away tonight. He's celebrating an occasion with his daughter tonight, so he'll be either late or not here. And it doesn't look like Daniel's going to make it tonight, so it's just us. We can talk about lasers all night. And Roger, you want to say anything?
Oh, no, you can bring up any CNC questions or 3D printing questions as well.
Yeah. And yes, and Conrad's back.
I'm here.
We'll bring up the message. Apparently you were missed last week.
That's my bad. My wife was on, she had traveled, and I was going, oh, this is a good time for me to get some stuff done in the garage. And about 9:30 rolls by, and then I go, oh, today was Wednesday. Oops.
Stephen, am I echoing now?
I'm not picking it up.
Are you picking up any echo, Conrad?
No, just Rogers. It seems like his gain's a little high.
I think that's Roger's gain is high.
Okay, let me let's turn that down some more. How's that?
It seems to be better.
I can't turn it down any further.
No, it seems to be okay. Hey, Jack, just a test, Jack. Can you hear any echo from any of us or all of us? Oh, apparently Timmy says the sound is good from him. All right. Technology.
Well, Jim from Joliet. Yes, I am from Illinois, on the Iowa-Illinois border. So you're about 2.5 hours from me.
What else we got here? More of a repeating, not an echo.
Yeah, I think it's good now.
I think it's good. Well, Steven's still saying it's an issue. Oh no, now he's saying it's all good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, technology is sometimes a challenge. Laser question. Here we go. Can I engrave with a 5-watt laser? Yes. And if you're engraving images, you can engrave better than most people.
Just not on steel. Had that question from one of my viewers today. I bought a laser and I'm trying to engrave the steel and it won't do it. And what do I need to set it at? I said, well, it's not going to do it, period.
Yeah. It's a challenge. Yeah, definitely on wood. If you're doing like a grayscale engrave with a 5-watt laser, you'll get a pretty nice engrave. Now you're probably going to be 100% power because a 5-watt laser doesn't have a lot of oomph, but it has a really small beam. Okay, apparently we've got the echo fixed now, so we'll have to blame the internet gremlins for that.
On tile, when I first started out engraving ceramic tiles, I was using a 5-watt laser. Did it for well over a year for up to a larger one.
Now, is that just with like titanium dioxide, or are you actually engraving the surface of the tile?
No, the titanium dioxide coating, Rust-Oleum matte white.
Yeah, that's typically what I use. But Jan, are you using white tile and titanium dioxide?
Yeah.
What else we got going here? Oh, there you go. It wasn't us. It was Stephen tonight. Finally, we can blame our problems on somebody else. Oh, okay. So yes. Oops. Are you clicking on messages, Conrad, or am I?
Either way. No
Okay,
problem.
you can do it, just so that we don't have a.
Yeah, the main thing to remember if you're coating your tiles with like I use Rust-Oleum matte white as a rule. Make sure you let them dry overnight. Don't like paint them and think they're dry and go right at it an hour later. Your results will be less than stellar.
Yep. Yeah, same goes if you're just spraying titanium dioxide right on the tile directly. You got to generally wait for several hours at least, because it seems to hold water.
And the titanium dioxide it's just a coating to put on the tile that lets you score the tile, or is it just taking it back off?
Yeah, it doesn't. So typically you use white paint because white paint has titanium dioxide in it. But if you don't like to clean up the mess, well, it's a different mess, I guess, with titanium dioxide, but it washes off with water. But yeah, you just mix it with like alcohol or something and spray it on. It's a bit of a challenge to spray it on because it doesn't dissolve in alcohol. It's just a suspension. So you have to spray it with a nozzle that's big enough to get the titanium dioxide through it. But it works okay.
And then once it's on the tile, then the laser, that's what the laser bites into?
Yeah. It reacts with the titanium dioxide and bonds it to the surface of the tile.
Oh, if we get this to...
It's too bright. Oh, there you go. Hold it down. There we go.
So that's what you could do with either titanium dioxide or white paint with a high titanium dioxide coating or content rather.
So that actually then chemically reacts, and then that's what becomes your printed surface, and then you just wash the unlasered stuff away.
Yeah. Now, if you're using paint, you have to use some kind of mineral spirit to get it off. But
I use acetone, but
yeah. Thank you, Stephen. Just being an awesome show is enough. You don't have to pay necessarily, but welcome the cash. Yeah, what's the power? Laser Master 2 Pro is a 10-watt laser, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 watt you'd have no trouble. Oh, who else we got here?
In fact, I do all of my all the tiles I do on 10-watt lasers.
Oh yeah.
I get a better result.
I don't have room for more than a couple of lasers on my workbench right now. Although I finally got the P2 off of there, so that freed up a lot of space.
I actually store my lasers on a shelf, stacked shelf that's 5 high. And then I just, whenever I need to use a particular one, I have different ones set up for different projects, so I don't have to rig them. Yeah, it's kind of handy.
Yeah. I'm in an ongoing quest to organize my workshop a little better, but it's just been crazy. What is the cost? Well, that depends on the laser, on the company, a lot of things, but you have to decide, first of all. I guess a better question is an IR laser worth it? And I don't know, I've had mixed results with them. The F1 is a nice laser, but and actually the longer IR laser module is pretty good.
Just don't expect to do things real fast with the longer one.
Yeah, or don't expect to do, if you were here in previous weeks and you saw the coins that Rick was engraving with a 60-watt fiber laser, don't expect to do that either. You'll be able to engrave stainless steel fairly nicely. Las Vegas. 3D HP. Is that 3D hit points?
Yeah, I actually have 17 lasers counting my CO2.
Yeah, I have a lot of them in storage, and I donate as many of them as I can to schools and maker clubs and stuff. So I try not to keep too many. If they're more than a year old, I usually move them somewhere. But
Well, all of my grandsons have lasers now, and then they didn't have to buy any of them.
Yeah, I have
It's got a S1.
Yep, he did. And in the dying moments of last week's live stream, he got it running. Like literally the dying moments. It was like we're all getting ready to go, and finally I see his laser head moving. So haven't heard back from him to see how it's going, but it yeah, he got it up and running. It's a 20 watt, which is a nice size for a laser. Well, what's everybody been doing this week?
All I've been doing this week is shipping. It's we have greenhouses, and it's spring, and we ship, and that's our main business here, and that's been what we've been doing all week.
I've been chasing customers. I was working with a buddy of mine to try and get his shop set up, his laser set up in his shop. But it's been a different kind of busy this week. It hasn't been a lot of project work. I'm probably going to do. I was showing before we started. I was showing Roger this CNC bowl that I turned a dish, and it's really just. It was a fun exercise. I actually have to do a demo for a bunch of wood turners, and they like round things, so I'm going to engrave a logo on the back of the dish or something, or maybe put a pattern on the rim. And I needed some samples. So that was my project this week. There you go.
Now I have some great grandchildren too, but Steve, you look just a little bit old to be one of my grandkids.
That's your extended family. Yeah, I do. Do you have a We Create Vision, Roger? You do, right?
Yeah.
Did you try the LightBurn support?
I did from what originally came with it. I did it once, and I thought this is not worth the trouble.
Oh, the new LightBurn support that they just released last week is really nice.
I haven't had a chance to. I haven't even had a chance to use a laser this week.
Oh, there you go. Steven tried. How'd you like it?
Yeah.
What's nice about it is you get a really good integration, like including autofocus and all the the typical sorts of things. They did actually a much better job than xTool did, and I think it's because they took a simpler approach with their laser design, and xTool took a pretty advanced path, and I think they're fighting their own technology to make it work properly in LightBurn. But yeah, it works really well. You don't get the camera though, which is unfortunate. But yeah, everything I did with it worked the way I would expect any laser to work in LightBurn, which was a pleasant surprise.
I've got a few projects designed I wanted to do on one of them on the WeCreate, but like I said, I just haven't had time this last week.
I was waiting to see if Stephen responded to the LightBurn support. We'll wait for him.
Now that one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I've got a com marker B4. That's a fiber laser. If you're engraving business cards, well, or drinkware, I guess, it'll be fine for that. But a 20-watt fiber laser is a little light for doing deep engraving. So, if you want to make medallions or things that look like coins, it's not the right laser for that, really. You can engrave down. In brass, I've gotten down to about 1 millimeter deep, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a pretty significant dig into the material. And that's a 20-watt B4. What was that?
Now, one of these days I might give another one away. I've got to come up with actually a spare. And I may at one point do a giveaway on the Ortur H10.
I should dig through my stuff too. The challenge for me is it's a bit of a challenge to get it across borders. I mean, you did the same thing, right? You give it away in your local country.
Yeah, that's what I had to do with the last one because the shipping would have been too high. Oh, that's because WeCreate likes to give out their lasers to have us demonstrate them.
Yeah, there's certainly that. Like, it seems like everybody's got one. In the end, though, it's not a bad laser. I mean, people say good things about good products, and I haven't heard any reviewers trash them. I've talked to a couple of people who bought them and had some out-of-the-box challenges with them, but one of them was camera alignment. Now, I do see in the new firmware they actually have a camera alignment option in the settings. So anybody who is having alignment problems can now fix that issue. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of them out there. Yeah, you can do that.
Yep, that works.
Either spray some white paint on your tile or some titanium dioxide, and off you go. What are all these weird sounds I'm hearing? Are you hearing those?
That one was my cell phone.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know what. I've got sound effects on my soundboard, but that's out of reach, really.
Stupid phone.
Yes, WeCreate is probably the best beginner laser I've seen. I don't know. What's your opinion, Roger?
There's very, very little learning curve on that one.
Yeah, it's just, assuming you didn't have any out-of-the-box problems, you can get the thing up and running in, I don't know, 5 minutes. It's basically
Actually,
plug it in and go.
It takes longer to get the packing out of it than it does to get it set up.
Yeah, it comes in a pretty big box.
Yeah, and that box is in a box, and there's tons of foam stuck all over inside it, and tape and stuff you got to all get off.
There you go. You don't have a laser, do you, Conrad?
I do not.
Huh. How did that happen?
It's got my back.
I'm sure Daniel can send you his Elegoo. He's much more. He seems much more excited about the S1 these days.
Perhaps so.
The Junkyard Journal Shop is back. Stuck on kerf. In WeCreate Make It, you mean? The kerf in there? Yeah, here's a regular user who has a WeCreate Make It my suggestion was just use the LightBurn integration and he pleaded with me not to force him to learn LightBurn. So. Yeah, I don't recall seeing kerf compensation in We Create Make It. Oh, are these the pre-made files off of their project library? Because those presumably should
those should just be plug and play and work.
They should. The ones I've tried have worked pretty good. Uh-oh. Sorry. It's easy in this business to think everybody's a male nerd. Who knew there were female nerds?
Oh, well, there's
Etsy
one problem
files.
right there. There's a problem because a lot of times the Etsy files are not really tested.
Yeah, hopefully they aren't my Etsy files. But I always build mine when I do a design, and I don't have too many designs up there.
Well, I have a relative, it's a male, and his name is Shirley. And he hates it, but...
Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. His mother mustn't have liked him or something, or wanted a daughter. Well, if you bought mine and you have trouble with them fitting together, let me know. But they should fit just fine if you cut them on a We Create. All right. Anybody? This is generally a Q&A, so if you got questions, just feel free to ask. Ask us anything, except where babies come from. Well, there isn't actually a whole lot of difference between a 30-watt fiber and a 20-watt fiber. If you want to go beyond engraving things with your fiber laser, then you're going to want like a 50-watt at least, 50 to 60. And be prepared because there's a big price jump usually between 30 and 50. But, if you... everybody's going to need more than one laser anyway, so you can buy the 30, do your engraving, and when you outgrow it, you can keep that one for engraving and buy another one for cutting or deep engraving.
That wasn't me.
So I haven't heard a We Create fiber laser rumor, but We Create is coming out with an IR module for theirs. And I'm supposed to get one. I believe it's shipped actually, so presumably in the next week or two I should get it.
What's the wattage output of theirs?
It's a 2-watt standard.
Okay, just
2-watt IR laser.
Just like Longer's.
Yeah, it's probably the same internals as what Longer uses. Yes, it's a major jump in price. So the IR module is for engraving metals primarily. So
you can get out all your gold and silver bullion and engrave on that.
Yeah, just for practice.
Yeah, I actually marked up some of my old tools just to see how well it worked. Just old dirty steel, and I was surprised how well it did.
Yeah, have you tried removing rust from an old rusty tool with a fiber laser? Yeah, it works well.
Not with fiber, but the IR will take it off.
Yeah.
Just takes a while.
Well, yeah, an IR laser will do it too. Yeah, it's a great way to make all your old tools look new again. few people have said where they're from. If you haven't already posted it, let us know where you're calling from, or connecting from, I guess.
Yeah, and IR will do that.
Yep.
Even if it's Chrome.
It might actually be better if it's Chrome.
Yeah, it shows up a little bit better than just plain steel.
Yeah.
I put my name on a pair of channel locks that I carried in the trade for about 30 years and well worn, and it still did it.
Hey.
Well, it's 54 here right now, but it was like 80 yesterday.
She's a neighbor of yours, Conrad.
Syracuse?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You're always quiet.
Right on. What part of Florida? I'm near Tampa.
Steven's a West Coast guy. Longer lasers. Roger, has Longer been bugging you about lasers lately?
Yeah, they keep wanting to send me another Ray 5 to do a demo on, and I'm like, I've got 2 of them, and I've got to be one. Well, I don't want another one. I says, I'll be glad to do a demo on if you let me give it away after the demo, but then I didn't get a reply after that.
Yeah, I have that problem with Creality. They're sending me another Creality Falcon 2, a 60 watt. And I tried to dissuade them, but they were quite insistent. It's like, okay, I'll do it, but it's going to be a short video because the laser frame is the same as the Falcon 2 40 watt and the Falcon 2 Pro. So people don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. A village called Belgium. Is it really the village? I thought you were in France, actually. Or was it French Belgium? Syracuse, not too far from where I used to live. Michigan. Oh, there's Darren, south coast of Australia. Bet you the weather's probably a little nicer there than where I am right now, although it's actually not too bad here lately. DeLand, where's that? Oh, in Florida.
Yeah, between Orlando and Daytona.
Oh, so you get to you're halfway between Mickey Mouse and the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, close to Daytona.
Yeah, I'm on
Louisiana is in the 80s.
I-4.
I could say it's 12 degrees here, but only people in Europe would understand it's Celsius.
Yeah.
Is there a laser that can engrave wine glasses? Yes, a UV laser would do it. Actually, well, I don't think a fiber laser would do it without some kind of treatment on it, but a UV laser will engrave glass. Now, if you're looking at a UV laser, get your checkbook out because that one's going to be a big price.
Oh, yeah, those are way up there.
And so that issue is because the laser likes to go through the clear glass.
Yeah, well, blue lasers just pass right through it. So you can put they do have these it's like a slide off, those slide off decals that you used to have, or slide off water slide tattoos. They make a material like that you can put on the glass, and then you can engrave that onto it with a fiber or with a diode laser. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to work very well. It seems kind of kludgy.
I've done it on glass with cold gel spray. And then, of course, you have to clean it all with acetone when you're done, but you can do it engraved that way.
Yeah.
And there's a Molly Lube, CRC makes it.
Mm-hmm.
And it works real well too. You just have to make sure you put something inside the glass because that light will refract everywhere.
Yeah.
So stuff something black inside it.
It'll engrave the other side of the glass too.
Yeah.
How can you still be getting used to Florida weather after 35 years?
Like they like to say, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah.
It's a 95-degree day with a 95% humidity, like you're swimming out to the car every day.
Yeah, well, I can sympathize. I live 2 miles from the ocean, so my humidity is it's about 99% for 10 months of the year. So
Well, for me, my advantage of my CO2 laser is that's all I do with it is cut acrylic. Well, I do cut fabric once in a while, but it's mostly for clear acrylic, because I make a lot of clear acrylic unicorns for a outfit here that does craft projects with them.
yeah, I don't know if the only advantage of a CO2 laser is the ability to cut acrylic, but that's definitely a big one. And if you spray metal, you can do stainless steel with Surmark or Moly spray. But the biggest advantage is that it's faster, quite a bit faster than a diode laser doing the same job. If you're cutting 1/4-inch plywood, my 90-watt laser is generally faster than a CO2 or than a diode laser would be. But I wouldn't underestimate the advantage of being able to cut acrylic. That's a big deal, because everybody wants acrylic. There you go. It's all about Daytona. See? $10 million inhabitants, less than a decent American day.
Yeah.
10 million is a quarter of the population of Canada.
For a small town in India.
You don't count the beavers.
My entire province has only 1 million people in it. It's a small province, but it means I don't have to talk to too many neighbors.
Well, that's kind of a loaded question. I guess again, it depends what you're going to do with it. Longer B1 is a good option. The xTool S1, the we create, depends what
if you
you're
want
going to do.
Closed laser, yeah. If I was buying a laser, a diode laser today, assuming budget wasn't my first consideration, I'd probably buy an S1, an xTool. That doesn't mean necessarily it's the best, because it does have its own set of issues, but it doesn't have very good LightBurn support, for example.
Or if you're trying to do something you need to pass through, you have to get the risers. You're kind of limited on how big of a project you can do with the S1. I mean, I do like my S1, but if you're doing something like a long port sign, you're either going to have to get the risers at conveyor or get an open frame laser.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the We Create conveyor, because they took a slightly different approach. They don't have a riser. You basically lay this thing on the table and you put your laser on it. You take the bottom tray out and drop your laser onto it, and it's the conveyor. They don't have to worry about the rotary like xTool does, because the rotary fits inside. So I'm kind of eager to see how it goes. More importantly, I actually mentioned it in my We Create News video. There's a bullet item on the conveyor marketing slide that says it will support most lasers on the market, most open frame lasers. So I'm actually kind of eager to see what that actually means, because I don't know how they would handle that, other than you disconnect maybe the y-axis and plug it into their thing, and then tell LightBurn that your y-axis is 1,300 millimeters or something.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works. That's a good laser. I have one of those too.
Yep. I gave one of these to a friend of mine, and then I convinced him to upgrade to the longer B1 40 watt, and he's less happy with me now. he likes this V35 better than the B1. He does a lot of what's the setting in LightBurn, the other fill setting, not the linear fill, the one where it goes in a circle and fills. The B1 doesn't do that very well, not the 40 watt anyway.
Oh, offset fill?
Yes. He does that quite often just because it's faster, and the B1 doesn't seem to do that very well. And I don't know if anybody has a B1 and they've tried offset fill. Let me know if it works. Yes, everybody's ready to jump on me for offset fill now. Sorry, this brain is old. Like, it only has so much capacity.
Okay, offset fill, if for those that don't know what that is, instead of your laser running on the x-axis back and forth continuously, let's say you've got a picture frame and you're engraving a border around it, you want to use offset fill. That way it follows that line, and it'll be a whole lot faster because it's not making those passes on the x-axis constantly. It'll do, all the ones on the x, and then it'll do all the ones on the y, and there's a lot less travel involved.
So this one, I usually just pick Baltic birch plywood if you're cutting plywood. Now, if it's hardwood you're cutting, you can't go wrong with maple if you pick maple, if you don't know what type of wood it is. Basically, if the wood is light, pick maple. If it's dark, pick walnut, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. About the reflectivity of the wood.
No, it's more the hardness. Maple's pretty hard, right? So
density, unless it's like silver maple, but if you have a sugar maple or a hard maple, that's real dense wood.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hey. HVAC A to Z.
Well, the learning curve to everything.
Yeah. Feel free to watch all of our channels and ask questions, post comments and videos. Anytime you get lost, that's why we're here. Well, what have you done this week, Roger, from a project perspective? Anything exciting?
Not a single thing other than trying to, like I mentioned before we went live here, trying to put an 8-foot load through a 7-foot door. That didn't work too well.
So now you're fixing doors tomorrow?
No, I had to unload that entire pallet in the wind and mist to get my forklift back inside the shop.
Oh, there you go. We've got a captive audience.
Yeah.
Can't be outside playing. So do nothing but watch YouTube. That's the way to go. I don't know. Rolly Lasermatic. People seem to like it. Haven't heard anybody say too many. Actually, I heard one person say bad things about the Lasermatic, but in general, most people seem to be pretty happy with it.
I had an offer to. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I had an offer to accept one and do demonstrations and that, but it came with a contract, and I don't do contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the only thing I really worry about with the Lasermatic is the sustainability of the company, because they're competing with some pretty big monsters in the industry, and as far as I know, their founder is still doing their first line support, which is not a scalable model. So it's a tough business, and the margins are pretty low. So I guess if you want a good laser that may be backed by a company that may or may not be there, it's probably fine. If you're looking for, to know you can send an email or pick up a phone, then, get an xTool, because they're going to be around. But who makes the better laser? I don't know. Between those two, they're probably both pretty good. VA, East Tennessee. Must be a first timer. I don't recall seeing East Tennessee pop up in our feed. Mark II 2030 watt. Yeah. Here's a question for you, Roger.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
You live by a good fishing lake?
It's not so much a question as you have yet another grandchild.
Yeah. No, I like fishing in Wisconsin, so.
Oh.
Yeah, it kind of all depends on what you learned on. I've had lasers for quite a few years, so it's kind of like when they first came out, along with the 3D printer thing. You learn that, and then you get something that's so simple to use. It was actually complicated when I first opened it up, till I thought, you got to think simple here.
Yeah, it's when I use the WeCreate, it takes me about 2 seconds to appreciate the camera. Like there isn't even a framing option on a WeCreate Vision. You can frame actually in LightBurn, but if you're using their software, Make It software, there's no framing option. You just use the camera, and it's generally deadly accurate. And the fact that autofocus is there is another thing you forget until you have to go back to a different laser. So yeah, I like the WeCreate.
And I can see some of the other laser manufacturers are probably going to be copying that here pretty quick.
Yeah, I think so. I know, like WeCreate has sold a pile of those lasers. I know just from my own affiliate links that I would say a measurable percentage of people on my channel have WeCreate Visions now.
I have had pretty good affiliate results too with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just everybody's who's getting started, right? It's a fantastic laser for that. Ah, just quiet. I'd say I'm quiet too, but I'm not. Oh, people talking to each other in our stream. That's good.
There we go. My boat isn't big enough for Lake Ontario. I have to stay close to shore.
Just bring a life jacket. Go out on a calm day. Just watch the Lakers. Backed up for months. Wow. The carousel, the slide that they have, they just basically don't have any of those already. The pre-orders have been insane with those. Yeah, well, that's something to appreciate is instant support. I've been in a bit of a support conversation with Creality now for almost 2 months. And it's like, come on, guys, how hard is this?
I've had nightmares with Creality on their 3D printers and their support. It's just horrible.
Yeah, they're just so like they don't source it, right? Like it's understaffed, and this is I wish companies would learn that support is a big reason why people will buy their second laser from you.
There is that.
Yeah. Yep. So LightBurn is out there now. I posted a video with kind of the 3 pieces of news from WeCreate, if you go watch that. But the extension for the bed is there. I think it ships on May 12th, and LightBurn support is there today. You can download it.
Oh, there we go. That's an idea.
Yeah, there you go. Now you've been.
You're tempting me now. Yeah, except I can't get away from here in the summer.
And you can take V with you. She's a deep sea fisherman, fisherwoman.
I have such a hard time with the concept of a lake that's big enough. You know, around here, everything that's a lake, you can see to the other side of. You can probably throw a rock to the other side. You know, and so when you go deep sea fishing, you know, you're going out like, well, for me, it's the Gulf. You know, I go out to the Gulf or into the Caribbean.
Yeah, I've been out in the Caribbean. I mean, out where you don't even see land anymore.
Yeah.
And
that's deep sea fishing.
Yeah, it's not for me. I like to be on land. I can fish from shore quite happily.
I remember
WordStar,
Word
WordPerfect.
Perfect.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I remember that.
Busy big.
I used to use WordStar a lot in my early days. Let's say when I was in my 20s. Yeah, WordPerfect was insane for all the crazy codes that you had to do for. It was anything but what you see is what you get.
And once I finally learned WordPerfect, I had to learn DBase. I'm glad they don't use that anymore.
Ashton Tate, whatever happened to those guys? Oh, 30 miles
Yeah,
off.
that'd be cool. For me, that'd be cool. I don't get seasick or anything, so yeah, I could do that.
If I'm on a cruise liner, 30 miles might be okay, but on any boat where I can walk from one side to the other in a matter of seconds, yeah, it's not my thing. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go on Lake Superior if you don't like big lakes.
No.
Lake Ontario is pretty big.
Superior is also quite cold.
And deep, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's fish in the bottom of it, but there's places where it's almost, well, it's over 1,000 feet deep in places.
I watched a video here, one of them History Channel things about Superior never giving up its dead, and they said because it is so cold down there that the bodies from sunken ships those bodies are still intact down there.
Ew.
Yeah.
That would be
Probably
a reason
more than anybody wanted to know tonight, but
that would be a reason not to ever dive on a ship in the Great Lakes. Sculpt Fun 30. Oh, the extensions. 48 by 48. That's pretty impressive.
that's my what I did with my Ray 5. It's on a 4-foot square piece of plywood.
You did your own extensions for it, though, right?
No, I bought the kit from Longer. So I had these big aluminum signs to do. Coming up here, I got some more to do when the weather gets warm enough. I can set it up in the shop and have the doors open. Because you're not going to put that one in an enclosure.
Yeah.
I guess I could build a building over it.
Yeah, lay it down on concrete and then put up a building around it. Yeah, I don't know what I would do with a laser that big. CNC I get, but I don't generally laser engrave things that are too big. Certainly not bigger than a regular laser.
Well, what I'm engraving is powder coated aluminum, and it's the aluminum sheets they use when they make race cars.
Oh yeah, neat.
There's a shop here across the river that stocks it, so I buy the sheets of it and cut it down to the size I need for these signs, and then do the graphics and do the engraving.
So it's like 16th inch material?
I'm trying to remember how many mil it is. It's actually in millimeters, like 1.3 or something like that.
16th of an inch, yeah. So it's flexible.
Yeah, it bends pretty easy. Too bad I can't cut it on the laser. I have to cut it with my shear.
Oh, you just need a bigger laser.
Yeah.
Same with the boat. You just need a bigger boat.
Well, got a 30-foot pontoon boat, but it's hard to trigger that around.
Yeah. You don't have to. You can leave from Lake Michigan and go up into Lake Ontario. take a while.
Well, we're out on the Mississippi River a lot, and contrary to what a lot of people think, it can get rougher than hell out there.
Well, it's shallow, right?
It depends where you're at. The navigation channel, they try to keep it 17 feet, but I know of quite a few places on our pool that's over 30 feet deep.
Have you tried the print and cut in LightBurn? I haven't.
I've never tried it.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's unreliable, but
The only thing I use print and cut on is my Cricut
yeah,
for
me
cutting
too.
vinyl.
Yeah, that's what I use. Oh, it's a quiet crowd tonight. Everybody must be sleepy like I am. Ah. Oh, it doesn't hold positions.
Having never tried it, I can't really offer anything.
Yeah. Seems like something I should do. Just to find out. It was one of those things I heard about it and then just passed it by, and it's like I'm never going to use that.
I don't really have an application for it. So 10:20 a.m.
Australia.
Now, on my bucket list, one of these days I'm going to go down under. I just want to see water go down the drain the other direction.
You can just take like a wooden spoon and stir your own water and save the flight, right? Give it a try. If it doesn't work, the LightBurn guys are actually pretty responsive for fixing bugs. So, but there's probably somebody else who's run into this problem already if it's not working. Pen jigs, yeah.
Never done any pens. I did do some pencils. I haven't gone to a toothpick though.
Or a grain of rice.
Yeah. Oh no.
That was a fun project. It's all good sport. Yeah, Hobo with Wood. I think he did a cut and print video just recently on this, or fairly recently.
Oh.
And it engraved off about 2 inches. I don't think the extensions would make any difference to that. Well, if you cut the jig and then things are engraving off, the jig is obviously not in the right place.
Or something else is. Are you using absolute coordinates, or are you using what is your setting there? I use absolute coordinates for almost everything.
Yeah, I do too. No, I'm thinking if you started with a whole sheet of material and then you cut out your jig 2 inches in from the border, and then assume that that's where it is, it's probably going to be out by that much, right? So you may have to move it. The things we run into in this business. Lasers can be hard sometimes.
There again, I would say if you're using absolute coordinates, that would never happen.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Suddenly it's accurate. The mystery problem just fixed itself. 1 millimeter above the position. Possible it wasn't at 0, 0 when you made the markings. It wasn't exactly at the home position. Yeah, Daniel stood us up. I weep. He did say he'd miss the occasional Wednesday. He's a busy guy. Yeah, I haven't heard anything else about Millmage after. There was a bit of chatter after their conference back in, when was that, February? And then they went dark. I think they probably are realizing that CNC software is hard, and it's probably taking longer than they expected.
Everybody has a feature that they have to have that no one else thought was necessary.
No, what was necessary?
In development, I found that everyone thinks that the feature they want has to be there, and that all the other features aren't necessary.
Yeah. When I was in my daytime job, I was a director in a software company, and I would have software engineers tell me how hard something was. When product management asked for a feature, they go, "Oh, it's so hard," and I would look at them straight faced and say, "But it's just typing," and then run from the room quick. Yeah, you always want a home before, well, in general, always, but especially if you're doing something that requires accuracy, you want to make sure you know where you're starting from. S30 with alignment. Yeah, you should home after every job anyway.
Yeah, I always do.
Yeah, especially because there's always a tendency to manually move the laser head out of the way, and then you forget that you've moved it. And the only laser that knows where it is, even if you move it manually, is the S1, which makes it perfect for me because I always do dumb things like that.
And I have made the mistake of just, when I'm taking the project off, of just bumping the head a little bit, my elbow or something. Well, then it throws it off. So I always home before I start every project.
Yeah, takes seconds. It's worth it. Third quarter for Millmage. They originally said early in first quarter. I guess it was October their conference was, and they said Q1. This is clearly a software project. Throw out a random date and then keep moving it. Yeah, so I have VCarve version 12 installed now, and there's some nice features in there. The inlay feature is fantastic compared to what you used to have to do. You used to have to do a lot of mental math yourself to do inlays, to do the plug in the pins, and they made it all turnkey. Like it'll do both sides of you can do both sides of the inlay at once if you want, if it's the same material. So yeah, it's super cool. I've been using it. Well, I used VCarve 12 for this. Not that matters because it's all pretty straightforward. But yeah, it was a nice update. I got mine for free because I bought mine after their cutoff date. But I think even if you have to pay, it's like $149, which is cheap by comparison to what I originally paid for it, or $100 or something. Yep, moving it a little will kill you every time. I'll probably do a video on how to engrave these plates. I've seen people who engrave, bowls. Well, they call them bowls, but really all they're doing is taking a bowl bit and turning out something flat. And this is contoured the whole way, like it's a proper dish. So I may do a video just to show people how I did it. Florida. Everybody has a pet alligator in Florida, right?
They don't have to put pets. You get a new one every year.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they actually have a different software team working on the CNC version than their team they work with the regular LightBurn.
I don't know if they're even big enough to have two software teams. They're a pretty small company, right? They did say that they were probably going to, it might be slowed down because they were working on some LightBurn updates, and clearly that has become their reality. They're learning the painful reality of having two products in your company now. Oh, it's possible. LightBurn has a few interesting bugs on some lasers. Well, it could be the laser, of course, but yeah, I've heard a couple people say that repeatability is sometimes a challenge, but that's probably not LightBurn. That's probably the laser.
Especially if one of your belts happens to be missing a tooth.
Yeah, or even if it's loose,
Yeah,
it'll get sloppy, right? Well, we're making connections. That's awesome. Big bear problem. You don't know bears until you come to Canada. Somebody up the street from me was complaining that that bears were getting into their bins.
Well, the only bears we have here in Illinois are Chicago bears, and they're pretty much harmless.
Well, at least you didn't say useless.
I'm a Bears fan too, diehard, but man, have to keep reliving 1985.
The last time they had any significant victory.
That's when they won their last Super Bowl.
Yeah, if anyone follows hockey, they'll know the misery of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was, I think, 3 years old the last time they won the Stanley Cup. But every year, fans line up. They're dedicated.
Go sports ball. Well, the Lightning has a relatively reasonable hockey team.
Well, yeah.
Why there's a hockey team in Florida, but there is one.
Yeah, Tampa. Yeah.
Second position. Well, back up there a minute here.
Oh, hang on. Before.
Well, I could tell you, like right here, if you're off on second position, it's going to sound terrible.
He's got all this information at his fingertips. What do we got here? We've started a conversation. Oh, yes. There's definitely LightBurn xTool issues. It's not LightBurn, though. So the way xTool implemented their LightBurn support is they built an emulation layer for LightBurn for G-code on top of their own laser interface. That's why if you're using xTool, an xTool laser in LightBurn, you can't change any of the machine settings. You can change them for that session, but the second you close LightBurn or turn your laser off, their settings have all been returned to what came out of xTool. It frustrates me to no end because I like accuracy. Sometimes I make things that require hyper accuracy, and you just can't do it very easily with the xTool.
Another odd thing I've found with LightBurn and xTool is if in LightBurn I create a project for and one of my xTool lasers, and then I save that project and open it up, and let's say on my Porteur laser, my images are backwards and upside down, and I have to flip them all.
Yeah, that's because their home is in the upper left corner instead of the lower left.
Yeah, drives me crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that, but you know, it's for most people on the planet, lower left is the home position, right? So Thursday night topics, yes, bears with lasers. Stay out of your backyard at night. Still, yeah, I'm actually interested in this too. How to install the IR laser, because their current laser module is not. It's not like a one screw removal. It's a disassembly by the looks of things. So it'll be interesting to see.
That's one thing nice about swapping on the longer. It's just literally swapping the module.
Yeah,
It's just that easy.
That takes seconds. Yeah, I'm wondering if they haven't just, if the IR, it's not like say an F1 where you have one laser module that has an IR and a diode laser in it. I wonder if they've done it that way. Time will tell. We'll see. I'll let everyone know when I get one. No, it's Thursday here. Crash course in LightBurn. Well, there's many of them. Go to Rich's channel, Louisiana Hobby Guy. He's got lots of LightBurn videos.
Yeah, Rich is real good at walking you through the very, very basics. And LightBurn also has their own support videos.
Yes, yeah, LightBurn has a good set of them as well. What else is happening? There's a lull in the traffic on the chat here.
Oh.
What's upcoming in on your side other than plants and fishing?
Well, like I say, I've got some projects designed. I just need to find the time to make the videos.
Yeah, I have the same issue sometimes. Spring is just brutal for trying to get things done. So there. Yeah, there goes my weekend. Take a break. I'd say go for a walk, but if you got a wounded foot, you can't. So just keep watching videos. There you go. Sounds like people are lining up for drinks after. Yeah, I got quite a few projects I have to get done. I've been still kind of tweaking my studio here, so it's been crazy. I've also been playing with DaVinci Resolve 19 for editing, because it does a couple of neat things that I want to do going forward in my always quest to improve things. So I don't have the fancy Hollywood setup that you have.
That's straight up Hollywood theater there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, I was showing you before we went live here. I can zoom this in and I can pan the cameras and.
You get the steady cam on the.
So if anybody's interested on what's on the other side of the room I'm in up here, I can spin this all the way around. I can zoom it back out.
Paint.
That's where all my heat presses are. So it's kind of a fancy toy.
You have a steady cam mounted on a drone.
Yeah, that's why he always has those mystery noises. He's got a drone flying in his studio.
Yeah, so that's fun little toy to play with.
Yeah, there is a new version of Make It coming as well. They're working hard. They're probably the hardest working guys in the laser business right now. We create.
Well, yeah, you'll have that.
So yeah, this happens with CNCs too. You always end up with a bunch of wood. I keep a box down beside my CNC, and it's basically firewood. I give it to my brother when it gets full. He has a fireplace and an outside fire pit, so he's quite happy that I have a CNC. Oh, here we go. Everybody wants more time. I wish I had more time too.
Yeah,
I had to quit my day job, and now I still wonder how I ever did that because I'm still too busy.
My air conditioner never gets turned off. There's 4 or 5 days a year where the ambient temperature is enough that I don't have to turn on the AC.
Yeah,
4 cold days a year.
That's a reason not to live in Florida because that's the cold end. The hot end is probably like 100 degrees, right?
Yeah, it's during the summer it's 90 plus from 8 o'clock through to 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, expensive lessons. Firewood. Oh yes. See, this is my worry with LightBurn, right? They were kind of sitting on their haunches there for a while, not keeping up to date, and now all these laser companies have said, "Well, we're going to build our own." So now you've got Creality and xTool, which between them are the two biggest tech appliance companies, and now WeCreate didn't even try to support LightBurn until long after they've released their own software. So I think this is a trend, and it's because they can innovate now, right? They can add a new feature and support it in their own software. $89 degrees. With 100% humidity, of course. What else is happening, Roger?
The hurricane season. At least we have a breeze.
Yeah,
we don't have hurricanes here, but there was a tornado yesterday, Ep14 tornado about 10 miles from where I live. So it was a little scary last night.
I don't get tornadoes where I live, but I get hurricanes. 2 weeks after I moved in from the middle part of the country, we got Hurricane Dorian 5 years ago, and that was a Category 4 that quickly turned into a Category 3 just before it made landfall, and landfall is within sight of my house almost. So I kept the official iPath map because the iPath goes across the end of my street. Hurricanes are not fun. It's like a tornado that lasts for 8 hours. Yeah, use all your cardboard.
Yeah, if you buy stuff from Amazon, you'll have an ample supply.
Yeah, or go dumpster diving behind stores. You'll find lots of cardboard. Yeah, I use a lot of cardboard for prototyping. Most cardboard is conveniently 3 millimeters thick, so it's perfect for what you would use 1/8-inch plywood for.
Now, as long as you turn the power down and up the speed, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep your fire extinguisher close at hand. I've never really had a fire. I've certainly toasted my share of cardboard, but I've never really had a fire. I won't say it's not a significant event, but it just doesn't seem to be as prevalent as people like to think. You just have to knock first.
We have around here more than bears or coons. Yeah, raccoons everywhere around here.
Yeah, I don't have too many around me. I'm surprised because they're around. They just don't show up here. bears, bobcats, lots of deer.
We've actually had raccoons come up and right up to the edge of the hot tub when we're in it. And that'll make you jump.
It's a little close. Yep.
Yep, that's true. You don't want to use dry chemical because then you'll have a mess.
Yeah, it's brutal to try and clean some of that up.
Better install a halon system.
Well, that's fine as long as you don't want to breathe.
But then you need an oxygen mask handy.
Yeah.
We're solving the world's problems. No, Alga Laser has not. They're not. I don't think they're going to release a 30 watt. I think they're going to go right to 40. They've been working on it. They did say when I talked to them a while back at the beginning of the year, they said they were looking at having it in March. Well, it's now the end of April, so yeah, it's probably a software problem. I don't know, but I think they're going to go right to 40. Okay, this is getting creepy. Yeah, you can use just a water bottle. Most things you're going to cook in a laser are you can put out with water anyway. It's just the water can go everywhere and you have to be careful. But if you have a squirt bottle, you can aim it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see squirting water on anything electronic.
Yeah, well, as long as you keep it off the laser module, there's not a lot of electronics around where you're cutting.
Generally, if you're using air assist, it'll actually blow the fire out.
Yeah, usually if you have air assist, you generally don't get fires. Oh yes, here's another hard lesson in life.
Yeah.
Autocorrect, the best worst invention ever. I'm continually. I have fat fingers, so I continually type messages on my phone, and all the words are correct, but they don't make sense. So the Creality Falcon 2 can switch. I have a feeling when Alga Laser comes out with their 40, it'll probably just switch automatically. Their 20 watt does. So if you're using lower power, it'll turn off some of the lasers, which will make the beam smaller.
Trying to remember the last time I used my Algo. I've got one. It's on the bottom shelf, collecting dust.
Yeah, I haven't. I have one sitting in my shop because Alga Laser said they were gonna get a 40 watt laser to me in March, and I'm getting tired of it, so I may shove it over into storage. But there are a couple of lasers that you can switch from 40 down to 20 or 10, even 20 usually. Trying to think of others than the Creality. Oh, there you go. There's one. The Rolly. You can do it. We talked a bit about the pass-through. It's not really a pass-through. It's a carousel. So you drop your laser on top of it, and it has rollers to move the material in and out of the laser space. It looks interesting, actually. I'm interested to see it. I'm more interested to try it on a laser that isn't a WeCreate. And it's priced right, I think. Anyway, if you want the short version of it, it's like $300. Rolly. Be interesting to take a straw poll to see how many people on this call have wheat creates. It sounds like it's a lot. Yeah, so Reality is going to send me a 60 watt laser, so I'll be able to confirm this at some point in the not too distant future. But yeah, that makes sense that they would switch down as far down as 20. I thought the power wars were over, actually. I'm not sure why Reality wants to come out with a 60 watt laser now. If they do, they better speed up their laser. Yeah, I'd like to believe that that was just a marketing slip up that they announced that they could support other lasers, but I'm interested to see it.
Yeah, for me, that saying of being universal is kind of like the one size fits all.
Yeah, so it may do a bad job at all lasers. Who knows? Yeah, the number they threw out was like 99% of the open frame lasers that are out there. That's a lot of lasers. Yeah, so if I get one, I'll definitely try this and post it in a video, because that would make a significant difference for them, I think, from a user adoption perspective. Because lots of people would love to have a carousel but don't want to shell out all the cash for an xTool S1 or something. But I don't know how they would mount, because so many of these lasers are different sizes, right? Like how do they mount it?
That, and so many of them have different mounting feet, and I know because I 3D print feet for them.
Yes.
And there's a lot of different ones.
Yeah, maybe they've come out with some adapters. Have you been secretly printing 3D feet for Recreate?
I've done. I just pulled some off a printer, and this one here's get that turned around to see it. That's a 50 millimeter riser for a Jacoda laser. And that's the mount for it right there. See how that mounts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every laser is different.
Yeah, there's that, and the outside dimensions of every laser are different too, right? So
yeah, that's why I have so many different layout grids on my site for download.
Yeah.
Because they're that, and they'll say it's got a 400 millimeter square working area, but it's actually 398 by 397. So then a 400 millimeter grid won't work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All depends if you're listening to marketing or engineering when you're asking the dimensions, right? The marketing guys will try and make it as enticing as possible.
Well, round it up.
It's 3 feet by 3 feet, and when you get it, it's 18 inches.
Yeah. Well, Steve, was glad having you on there.
Yeah, he's a diehard. That's awesome. Yeah, it is going to be intriguing to see how they fit this, because there's going to be there'll be all kinds of weird alignment issues, I think. I don't know, unless they have just like you do, a set of feet or a set of some kind of mounting brackets for every kind of laser.
I've got a shelf up here. It's an old TV entertainment center with plastic bins on it for all these different laser mounts. And there's there's 21 of them. So there's 21 different mounts that I have so far. I'm sure there's others that I have never made mounts for.
Now, are they all current, or are some of those maybe obsolete lasers now?
I still like the Ortur LaserMaster 2 Pro and the LaserMaster 1. I still occasionally will sell a set of feet and risers for those, but not so much anymore. The most popular one is the Longer Ray 5 mount.
Yeah, Longer sold a lot of those.
Do all popular lasers have limit switches? The good ones do. I won't say all of them do, but
yeah, it's definitely becoming more popular now. I would say most new lasers will have them, or if they don't have limit switches, they'll have current detection on the steppers. But older lasers, lots of older lasers didn't.
My Laser Master 3 or TUR has the current limiting sensing stepper motors.
Yep. Which was odd for that era, right? I mean, we're talking 2 years ago, but most didn't even have limit switches at all or any kind of limit detection. You basically position the laser head where you want it to start working. So I hope people appreciate how far we've come in the last year or two. Well, other than wavelength, it's
And what
mostly
you're going to do with it.
Yeah, it's mostly about wavelength is the primary difference. One is probably in the 300 nanometer range, and the other one is in the 1,000 nanometer range. So opposite ends of the spectrum, but price is definitely another difference. UV lasers, fiber lasers are expensive. UV lasers are off the charts. They're coming down though fairly quickly, but they're still quite expensive.
And a CO2 laser kind of falls between the diode and the fiber price-wise.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to get really big.
Yeah, well, one reason for buying a CO2 would be to be able to do big jobs. But like my CO2 lasers, 2 feet by 3 feet is the bed area, which handles most of the jobs I have to do. But
well, since I only make unicorns on mine, I've got it's a Monport 40 watt, and it does just fine for it. So.
Yeah, how do you like the Monport?
I have had, well, I can't say I've had zero issues because the temperature displays they send with them are just junk. But I replace those with little digital Amazon things. And other than that, I have a spare tube for it. I've never had to change it, though. I did have to change the lens once, but otherwise it's, other than just normal maintenance and alignment, it works just fine.
They were asking me to take an 80 watt CO2 laser for a review, and it's like I don't have room for that in my shop. And I was still, to this day, I'm still expecting it to arrive in spite of the fact I said don't ship it to me.
I wouldn't have room for that.
Stop sending me all this free stuff.
Yeah, it's not free if you have to build a new building to put it in. No, I've kind of convinced them to send me a fiber laser. So, because I have quite a few people asking about fiber lasers now. Yeah, UV lasers. So ironically, when I started my career, I worked for a laser company building UV lasers. And here they are again. They've made a comeback. Now, the lasers I was working on were industrial lasers, so they were huge. But yep. So I wanted a big CO2 laser, so I just built my own. And it has become the workhorse in my workshop. I use it for anything, any big jobs I have, I use that. Yeah, don't say that. You also have to get it through the door. So if you ever do order a big CO2 laser, check the outer dimensions very carefully. I talked to somebody a while back, a couple of years ago, who bought a CO2 laser and wanted to put it in their basement, and it wouldn't fit. So they actually had to cut out the foundation and put an outside entrance into their basement to get it down there. That's a pretty big expansion just to put a laser down there. No, this one must be directed at you, Roger. You're the collector of grandchildren, family members.
Oh, yeah. Some of the free stuff, I mean, I get offers to everything from bamboo underwear to hair straighteners, like I need that, to the latest thing I got, I think it was this morning, was a weed whacker of some, like a weed whacker lawnmower conversion all in one. I'm not going to screw with that.
Yeah, I get some weird ones too. The one I was tempted to jump on though was somebody was trying to get me to look at a TIG welder. And it's like some Chinese company, and it's like, while it would be very cool to have a TIG welder, I don't really need one, and it's probably not really that interesting to the people who watch my channel. These are, I assume, the horror stories around having things that don't fit in your house.
I do some off the wall things once in a while. I just did a review on a Bissell pet stain remover that I bought to clean a grandson's car. There's a person he bought it from had dogs, and they kind of peed everywhere. And I was surprised how well this thing works, so I did a video on it.
Yes. Yeah, buy in bulk. Although I went to the local wood store the other day, and I bought an 8-foot 8-quarter pieces of maple and walnut, because I'm going to make another chess set, and it was outrageously expensive. Like, it hurt, and I was not happy when they handed me the bill and said, "Oh, it's $500 and some." There was a couple of other things I bought too, but it was probably $100 more than the last time I bought it, which was only at Christmas time, December or March or November. It's depressing.
Even buying in bulk sometimes you get pricey. That big pallet I was telling you about we had today, that was all cardboard boxes. $1,500 worth.
Yeah, enough cardboard for you to cut things forever.
Yeah, so of course we ship and all that stuff, but it always hurts when I have to buy another pallet of boxes.
Yeah, especially when you know most of them are just going to end up in a landfill somewhere, right?
Yeah, or somebody used them on their laser.
Yeah, if it goes to that cause, then it's worthy.
Yeah.
There you go. You print a schematic on the inside as a bonus label, like the cereal box.
Yeah,
cereal boxes work well. It's a little flexible, and it doesn't. So the reason cardboard boxes are nice is because they're roughly the same thickness as plywood, right? So if you're putting anything together, you can at least test assemble it in cardboard before you cut the firewood, the future firewood. So you're not going to forward free stuff to just me, Roger?
No, I'll keep my grandkids supplied. Like with miniature chainsaws, I think every one of them has one of those now. I've done a lot of reviews on those because something we use here, but I don't need 20 of them.
See, when you say grandchildren, I'm thinking like 5-year-olds, and you've equipped them all with portable chainsaws.
No, my grandchildren are, like I said, I have great grandchildren. So my youngest grandson is 17.
Oh, you should be able to handle a portable chainsaw.
Yeah.
Those are those little handheld ones with the really short blade on them?
Yeah, and they work surprisingly well.
For branching, cutting branches and stuff? Trimming.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be a lumberjack and felling trees with them, but for pruning and cutting up little stuff, they're great.
Scratch paper, man, it's become one of my favorite materials. I actually found a place that sold all kinds of weird patterns and colors of scratch paper, and I have to go and dig it out because it's worth noting, because I've only seen the stuff with a white background and the rainbow stuff.
And I've got a whole pack of it I still haven't played with.
So the thing you'll appreciate about it is it engraves really well. Like if I could get that kind of engraving on a piece of plywood, I would just spend my days making photographs on plywood. It's just amazing how well it works, and it takes almost no power, like 25% on a typical laser, and or you can go with more power and really move along, so you can do engraving really quickly, and it's cheap. Like it's like pennies a sheet. The only downside is you do have to clear coat it after, spray some clear spray paint on it, and that protects it. But other than that, I can live with that one sacrifice, because it's just such a nice material to work with. All right, peeps. Anyone else got any questions? We still have about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Anything you want us to do on our channels? Let's say that's another question. Like any projects you'd like to see, or lasers, or CNCs, or 3D printers, or pet cleaners.
Yeah, cleaning up after pets.
Pet carpet cleaners. I usually keep a long list. Every time I come up with an idea and I want to do some video, I'll just write it down, and I have a long list of them. But the sad thing is I rarely have time to do proper projects these days, which drives me a bit crazy, because projects are way more fun than most of the things I do.
Well, I guess we got a little bit here. I could throw a little something out there about people that are building things and selling them, and then shipping them. If, let's say, you're using the postal service and you're going to send a priority mail and it weighs 2 pounds, well, you need to put the box size in. If that 2 pound thing is in let's say a box at a 7-inch cube, it'll go by what they call cubic. But if that 2 pound thing, then it'll cost you like $8. But if that 2 pound thing is in a box, it's, let's say, 4x4x36, now you're shipping $14. So that's something to keep in mind if you're making things to ship and you're using the even UPS and FedEx are not going by what they call dimensional weight. So they want the box size, and they have minimum charges for that amount of what they call cubic area. Just something to keep in mind if you're shipping stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like everybody's trying to find ways to screw us over. So if you're going to ship a long skinny thing, make it in 2 parts and put an assembly guide in with the box, right? Because you'll save shipping. On multi-layer signs. No. So let me see. If I'm making a multi-layer sign, it's typically acrylic. So I'll have just multiple layers of acrylic. I don't know, like a paper really wouldn't make a good sign from durability, unless it's like something you're going to post on a bulletin board or something. But yeah, I don't know. I guess let me re-ask the question: are the layers? What are these layers made of in this question? Are they acrylic? Are they wood? Or even paper, I guess.
I've done a lot of multi-layer wood projects that I paint different colors, and of course, if I do something with paper, I'll do it on the Cricut.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've learned, and so one of the nice things that lasers can do for you is if you're doing if you're layering something with lots of different parts, like say you're doing I don't know, a parrot, something colorful, and you've got a whole bunch of parts that are all different colors, paint the material first and then cut it. You can do that with lasers. It's much harder if you're doing it by hand, and then you have to try and figure out how to individually paint all these things. So lasers do make some things easier. Like I did that inlay of the hummingbird a while back, and I painted everything first and then cut it. This one is an interesting question. Depends on the laser. Diode lasers need less maintenance than CO2 lasers. Fiber lasers, as near as I can tell, don't need any maintenance.
I'll throw this in there. If you're going to let your laser like this sit around for a long time, and then you're going to want to go to use it, check your belt tension. Because that will change all on its own. Those belts stretch out, then all of a sudden you got loose belts. And then things get wobbly. And if you don't keep your belts too tight, or your eccentrics too tight, or you'll end up with flat spots on your rollers if it's stored for a long time. Guess how I know that?
Show us the scars.
Yeah. I keep a supply of the little rollers in a drawer.
Yeah.
The rollers on a laser are the same they have on these 3D printers here.
Yep.
So I have a good stock of them.
Yeah, I have a bag full of those someplace.
And as far as cleaning the lens on a laser, since I have air assist on for everything all the time, it's very rare I have to clean a lens.
On a diode laser, yeah. Well, even on a
diode
CO2,
laser.
actually.
Well, on my CO2, I have the air assist on too, but I still have to clean the lens periodically. On the diode lasers, it's rare I have to clean a lens.
Yeah, CO2 lasers have a few more optics in them than a diode laser. Almost all of the optics in a diode laser are sealed behind glass. So the thing, if you pull a laser module off and you look at the end of it, the thing you're looking at isn't the lens. It's just a quartz protector. The lens is inside that. So you really just have to scrub that glass, and that's really all the maintenance you ever have to do on a diode laser, other than belts, of course.
Of course, in a CO2 laser, aside from the lens itself, you got to watch for dust accumulating on the mirrors.
Yeah. And the end of the laser tube. I cleaned the end of my laser tube a couple of times, and it was quite dirty, actually.
Yeah.
All quiet. What about you, Conrad? So, how come you don't have a laser?
Running out of space. My latest tool was a new little mini router table, and my not a coping saw.
Jigsaw? Or yeah, I know the one.
Yeah.
You could have had mine, because mine sits on the floor. I never use it.
I just picked it up. I found it on sale on Marketplace, and I got it in my shop, and I've been planning to do some work with it. I just haven't gotten there yet. I spend most of my time prepping product for like local markets and stuff.
Yeah.
I've got 2 different markets this weekend, and I've been supplying the vendors with shelves and boxes and crates and stuff.
There you go. Scroll saw. That's the thing.
Scroll saw. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. I've got one. I used it for one project about 15 years ago, and it's been under my workbench ever since.
Well, mine still gets used quite a bit. If it's 3/4 of an inch or thicker, it's not going to get cut on the laser. It's going to get cut on the scroll saw.
Yeah, I don't cut things that are usually that thick. If I am, I'm making a cutting board, and I'm not going to cut that with a laser anyway.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a great cut.
For it was to do not overlays, but build boxes and then build some fretwork to go on to the boxes.
Like a jewelry box type thing, you mean?
Jewelry boxes, humidors, that sort of thing. Fancy, empty things.
Does the lens sensor do a good job telling you when the lens needs to be cleaned? No. It's a bit of a gimmick. Just put something in your calendar every 6 months and to tell you to clean your laser, the window underneath the laser module. I guess maybe, I don't know how they would even run the laser sensor, the lens sensor, unless they're testing how much is reflecting back off the dirty lens.
Now, if you're cutting leather, you'll want to check even using air assist, if you're cutting leather, you're going to want to check it a little more often.
Yeah.
Because that tends to pollute, not just the lens, but the air.
Yes, cutting leather is terrible. Yes, inlays. Or, well, could be marquetry depending on how thick the material is, but
that's basically what I was intending to do. Smaller boxes and humidors and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of my product that I do is barrel wood related, cocktail smokers, that sort of thing.
Well, you could do a CNC would do probably better for you than a laser anyway.
Probably.
Engrave and fill it with resin, or do an inlay.
Just don't try to cut dovetails with a CNC. I had a question on that this past week. I can't get square corners of my dovetails with my CNC. Well, no, you won't, because the bit's round.
Yeah,
you're gonna
it's not a bandsaw. That's why.
Yeah. And of course, this is the land of pirates, and so I was planning on making like a little barrel wood pirate chests.
Oh yeah, like a toy box.
Yeah,
pirate toy box. Yeah.
Everyone has their booty they need to get in there.
Not necessarily. You need to have something to create a draft.
Yeah, it would work in the winter time, not so much in the summer.
The summer may not work. You may have air coming the other way.
Yeah, it's if you're venting, you gotta chop a hole in the wall or run it out a window.
Yeah, driver vents work real well. That's what I have in the shop downstairs.
Yeah, me too. On the wall on one side of my workshop, I've got 3 or 4 of them sticking on the side of the wall for different things.
Well, then up here in the loft, back in the laser room, there's 2 of them. They're actually mounted in a window with a custom mount, but there's 2 vents going out there, one for the CO2 and then one I use for the weak crate on the S1.
Yeah, mine I vent directly outside. Hey, Glitter Fart's here. Awesome. Hopefully you're having a good night too. Oh, I have so many projects to do and so little time. I have a big watch band engraving order coming now, probably in the next week or so. That'll keep me occupied for a couple of days.
We have an order, of course, this isn't for our greenhouse. We got an order for 14,000 lavender plants. So I'm going to be just really busy this next week.
Well, bring some more. Everybody, if you don't have any questions, you're not learning. So go out there and try some things.
And no question's a stupid question if we don't know the answer. That's something I used to tell my apprentices all the time. If you don't know, it's not a dumb question. Ask me. Don't make the mistake and then say, well, I didn't know.
Yes. Sometimes those kind of situations make the news, depending on what it is.
Yeah, you're going to get
I'll tell you, there are some stupid questions.
You're going to end up getting a Darwin Award.
Yeah, says the guy in IT. But having interacted with IT, sometimes there's stupid answers too.
Oh, yeah.
The inevitable one: have you unplugged it and plugged it back in?
Caps lock.
Now, the best one I like from support is, can you send me a video of it not working?
Yeah, that's the Creality response.
Yeah,
I actually have one of those emails sitting in my inbox.
I think that's our boilerplate response to a tech question.
Yeah, it keeps
Oh, yeah.
the person you didn't want to talk to busy for a while.
Yep, I won't forget you're in Wisconsin.
It still gets warm in Wisconsin in the summertime, though.
Yes, it does. It gets just as warm there as it does here. Although I like to go way up north around Hayward, but it gets hot up there too.
Yeah, I've heard this expression too. This only applies to politicians, I think. It certainly doesn't apply to makers.
Cannot cut or engrave. PVC, vinyl.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, if you're talking from a safety perspective, PVC is the big one. Anything that looks like plastic, except for acrylic.
And vinyl you don't want to do. That releases chlorine gas. What they call pleather, which is like artificial leather, that'll create chlorine gas when you cut it or engrave it. And that'll corrode anything metal.
Yeah, there's not a lot though that other than PVC. That's the worst one.
Of course, then there was a big question I had: can I engrave a bullet? I'm like, are you serious?
Keep it pointed away from you if you're going to.
And I'm not talking about the shell. I'm talking about a live round. I said, don't even attempt that.
Yeah, that just seems like a bad idea.
Well, if you do it before you learn.
That's one of those things that'll make the news, right?
Yeah. There's a Darwin Award right there. I actually put that in a video here a couple of years ago when the guy asked about it. Because don't do this.
So I don't know the answer to this question. I've never had to clean the webcam in a WeCreate. Is this a?
No, I haven't had that.
We weren't specifically talking about WeCreate with this one, but any webcams, I don't know. I haven't ever had to clean any of them.
The only camera I've ever really had to clean, I've got a bamboo X carbon, and it has a camera in it, and it gets dust on it. I have to dust it off once in a while, but otherwise, no. My WeCreate never had to clean that one.
No. I mean, if you're cleaning lenses anyway, you might as well just give the webcam a wipe. But it's not something that seems to be bad for collecting dirt. Any webcams really.
Well, no, WeCreate where the camera's located, the fan in there pulls all the smoke away from it. You shouldn't really be getting anything up there.
Yeah, the fan, they have a good case fan in those. More importantly, it's quiet. It's not like what was the laser case, the laser enclosure I was testing. It might have been the IKEA. The loudest fan I've ever heard. Like it's like louder than like the fan in the motor of your car. Like it's just insane. It sounds like a jet engine. And yeah, it would be okay if it actually worked like it sounds, but it's an average fan. So
to clean lenses, I use alcohol, not the good tequila, but like isopropyl 90.
Yeah, take a shot of alcohol first, and then go clean the lens. Isopropyl alcohol, IPA, and something. Don't scrub it necessarily. You're not really cleaning the lens. You're cleaning just a protective optic on the front, but it can still get scratched. So
use a microfiber cloth.
Yeah,
a new one, not a dirty one you detailed your car with, but a new one.
Yeah, with a little alcohol, and it'll come clean usually. Helps to take a flashlight and shine it back into the module to make sure that you've got the dirt off, because it can get cooked on there. Cleaning party. Yeah, Yeah, that'll be the project for next week. Everybody bring your laser module to the video and to the stream, and we'll clean our lenses. Yeah, lens tissue if you've got it. It's in usually the protective glass is in a bit of a pocket, so you can't really get lens tissue in there very well.
Q-tip works well.
Yeah, except there's a tendency to really scrub with a Q-tip. So if you're using a Q-tip, it's a light rub.
Yeah, just remember you're cleaning some optics, not your ears.
Yes. Well, they're not even technically good for cleaning your ears. Yep. Camera shop, you can get the blowers to keep the heavy dust off of things inside your laser, just the hand squeezy kind of blowers that are typically used. You'll find them in most camera bags. But to actually clean it, yeah, so alcohol is your friend.
Yep, I have the same setup.
Yep, most people do. The 4-inch is typically a dryer vent.
And I've got a blower mounted right at the window, so it even accelerates what the weak rate fan puts out.
Yeah, I have one of those big inline fans for which sits right at the wall where the output is, and then I pipe everything into that fan. Works really well. It actually seems to create a little bit of a vacuum inside the laser, which is generally what you want. Well, we winding down here. What do we got? 27. We got 3 minutes left. So last chance for questions, or if you want us to look at things for the next live stream, we can do that over the next week. I know we all have all kinds of free time, so. Yeah, there you go. Both fans.
Yep. I have the same thing down in the shop as whatever fan I have in the enclosure goes into my 4-inch vent. It has another inline blower in it that blows it out above the shop door. So, yeah, worked great.
Steven, I thought you said you were leaving an hour ago.
Can't get enough.
No, he goes and eats dinner and then he comes back. See, so he's on West Coast time.
Hey, Grandpa,
All right.
talking.
Oh, we gotta. Oh yeah. This is. So I actually did an interview today with the Kittle guys. They do a coffee with Kittle, and they were actually trying to get my perspective on using their tool from a maker's perspective. So that video is coming out soon if you follow the Kittle group on YouTube. It was just a real kind of warm fireside chat. What's interesting is Drew, the guy who runs their YouTube channel, he's a maker wannabe. So he's like most of the people who join our channels. He's just getting started and wanted to have, he had all kinds of really interesting questions. So that one's coming out soon. You can feel free to watch that. And certainly I like Kittle as a design tool. So I actually use it in the real world, unlike the hit and run where you review something and then you never use it again. It's part of my day-to-day workflow. Oh, there you go. He can't get enough. My wife says she gets too much. That's why I'm in my studio and she's somewhere else in the house. Yeah, Kittle's a nice little tool. It's so I don't know. Well, I guess I didn't sign an NDA, so I can divulge. One of the things we talked about was after that call was where Kittle's going, and I said I would really like just to be able to draw measurable lines, dimensional lines in Kittle, and that's apparently coming, which is nice. So a lot of the things that you would use either LightBurn for or Inkscape if you're using Inkscape Design. If you want to draw a particular size of something, that's all coming, which is kind of exciting, because it just means it's one less reason to use a tool outside of Kittle, from my perspective at least. All right, so if anybody has anything else, say it now, or we can wind down for the evening, and hopefully we see you all next week.
Yep. Cool.
And by all means, ask questions and leave comments in videos, and someone will answer you. I know I answer every single message I get, at least as many as I possibly can, and I'm pretty sure Roger does too. So,
yeah, sometimes it gets a little out of hand, but I still manage to hit them all.
yeah.
Just remember not to engrave bullets.
Yes, don't engrave bullets. Maybe we need a frequently asked question list of things you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Don't engrave your sister. All right. So we'll wind down, and thanks for coming out.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks, Conrad. Thanks, Roger.